What's up, guys? Shay Stevens here, PDGA number 77522, and today we're playing a one-disc round with one of the special release discs for the 2024 MVP Open, the Eclipse Tempo. Let's get to it. So the Tempo made a real splash in 2023 with its debut in the Circuit Challenge Pack. Many players consider it to be the NVOS, others consider it to be the Zone clone for MVP. But there's a good number of people who say, it's just not as overstable as a Zone. Now, the Zone's been made so many times in just different plastics, a lot of variation, I think, in the mold. So if anything, I would compare the Tempo to a ESP Zone, even though it's been slightly used a bit. But players who have been seeking a tempo that's a little more overstable might find their answer in the Eclipse Tempo. Flight numbers for the tempo are speed of 4, glide of 4, turn of 0, and a fade of 2.5. So there's no official flight numbers for the Eclipse Tempo, so I'm just going with the stock numbers. But just by feel, definitely feels a little bit meatier. Feel like the parting line might be a little bit higher compared to the Neutron. But to confirm that, let's take a look at some side-by-sides. And starting off with the side-by-sides, on the left, we have the Eclipse Tempo up against the 2023 Circuit Challenge Tempo, so Neutron plastic on the right. Parting line's nice and even, but one thing to note is the bottom of the disc. On the Eclipse Tempo, a little more blunt finish, meaning it's going to have a little bit more drag, a little more wind resistance, which means this disc should have a little bit more fade compared to the Neutron. And next up for comparisons, we have the Eclipse Tempo on the left up against the 2024 OTB Open release of the Proton Soft Tempo. Parting lines, once again, line up nicely, but we want to pay attention to the bottom of the disc once again. The Eclipse just has a little bit more of a blunt finish compared to the Proton Soft. A lot of people believe the Proton Soft was more overstable than the Neutron, but I still think, based on this, that the Eclipse Tempo will have just a little bit more stability based on that blunter finish. And the Proton Soft was also known to have a little bit of dome compared to the Neutron, which was board flat. So I flipped these two over to take a look, and just a slight dome comparison here. I would say Proton Soft has just a little bit more dome compared to the Eclipse. So if you like a more domey, more fuller feeling disc in your hand, you're going to gravitate probably towards that Proton Soft. The Eclipse, on the other hand, pretty flat top. All right, guys, before we get to Taminid, I just need to apologize. I procrastinated. I thought the good weather was here. I was enjoying it, and then got hurt. Messed up my left shoulder blade. It was really weird. Don't know how I did it, but by the time I worked it out a few days later, bands of the hurricanes started rolling through. So I got rained out, and the forecast called for a break in the storms for like 5 hours. So tried to jet over to Taminid to film during the break in the storms, but there was no break. Forecast was wrong, as they often are. So yeah, this is the first ever rain round, I think, in my video, so please take that into consideration when watching these throws. But without further ado, let's head out to the course.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Taminid Park. It has been a minute. Want to get out here to make sure the course is looking good. This stuff is growing out a bit. Yeah, I just want to make sure the course is, in good shape. Luckily, there's a lot of people playing it, so I'm sure they're taking care of it. We got a deer hanging out over there, and it's raining. All right, hole one, 320 feet uphill. Again, I usually need a driver to get here, especially with the low ceiling toward the front of the green. So I'm just going to put the tempo out there, a little bit of Anheuser. Just give myself a nice little up and down, hopefully for a par to start off. Yep, we're out there. And here comes the wind. Grip management is definitely going to be the priority today. Like I said, just put myself out here to the right, gave myself a nice easy hyzer into the green. I like being further over to the right just because it opens the ceiling up for you just to come in. Alrighty, should be a par. Found a driver out there with no name or number on it. So that's my mini marker for there. Taking the par, leave that there for whoever that is, and moving on. And hole two, 225 feet. I've been going at this with a power recently, so let's see if the tempo can get me there. So I guess I'm trying my best to keep the lens clear and shield my camera. I'll show you a picture of my setup I have. Using my magic arm that I usually have for a battery pack as an umbrella holder. It's kind of working out, but when the wind picks up and just blows, you know, the rain laterally, not much I can do about it. So I'll try to keep checking in on that lens, make sure it's clear. Fun part about rain rounds, as soon as you dry it off and then put the towel away, a big raindrop lands right under your thumb, or where your thumb would go. All right, let's send it. Oh, I hooked it over. Good flight. I like the stability on it, but way out left. Nothing too flashy. We'll see if we get a decent run, but don't want to put too much work on this on the upshot. Ooh, good line, just short. That'll be a tappy. And a par. Ooh. 4-leaf clover stuck to my disc. Might be lucky now, we'll see. Hole 3, 142 feet. Par 3. All right, so the power forehand was a little off. I mean, first forehand of the day. As you might have guessed, I didn't stretch out or warm up properly for this round. Stupid me. But let's see if the touchy forehand's there. So just gonna try and smooth this nice and flat through the gap, maybe a little hyzer. Just make sure I don't overcorrect an ante. Just try to put it through the gap and put it under the basket. Grip is definitely not fun today. Should have brought a pair of my friction gloves with me. Pulled it again. Fought through the backside though. All right. All right, so we got lucky on the forehand line. Got to an open look at least. Yeah, sorry, I'm not showing off the forehand throws really well, guys. Sorry, it's not a problem with the disc. I'm actually getting some nice crisp releases. I'm just pulling it like across my body 10 to 15 degrees. So archer, not the arrow. All right, so we got a putt here. Let's see. Does the Eclipse Tempo putt like the Neutron Tempo, which I didn't mind that much. Got to hit it flat and put it on target. Oh, pulled right, but the overstability saves me for a no chains ace. Or what am I talking about? No chains ace, no chains birdie. Ace maybe later. We'll find out. Already on to the secondary towel. This is rough. Hole 4, 192 foot par 3. There's a cheeky forehand line. I've been taking it recently, but not really feeling it today. So we're just going to go traditional hyzer line to the right. Hopefully crash in. People are saying these Eclipse Tempos are a little more overstable than the other runs, and I'm inclined to believe it so far, so I'm going to trust it. Needed a little more hyzer, but that'll putt. Yeah, that worked out. Split those trees, curled in here. Little tap in birdie. All right, we're back to 50% birdie rate. Rain is picking up even more. Yay. I love meteorologists. All right. 169 feet. Par 3 for hole 5. Traditional line just to the right. Aim straight at that tree, let it crash. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm actually going to go standstill. Just hopefully get this a little more bite at the end. Ooh, it didn't need it. Crashed early. I might get the cheeky inside look for the birdie. We'll see. All right, just had my first scare. Wind picked up, blew the umbrella, which tipped the camera. No harm done. Looks like everything's working fine, hopefully. All right, let's see if I can at least make it worth it by getting a birdie out here in this stupid round I'm playing. Ooh, that was low, but just in. Okay, if I'm gonna get an ace out here, it's either gonna be this hole or 9, I feel like, just with how the tempo flies. This is it says 141 foot downhill. I feel like it's even shorter than that, like 126 or 125. So Just gonna float the tempo out to the right. Hopefully it'll crash on the basket. Beat it. Oh, just kissed it. Man, I wanted to see that finish. I feel like I had really good touch in terms of power. Just put it a little bit wide. So, left myself this little downhill putt. Keep the birdie streak going. Hey. Yeah, hole 789 foot, but way uphill. I usually throw a reactor or an envy at this depending on the day. It's gonna be interesting. I basically had to put this thing on a little bit of flex line going uphill. It's not a shot I'm typically asked to serve up. Let's see what the tempo can do for me though. Let's make sure it's nice and dry, get a good grip. Little baby Anheuser kind of straight at it. Ah, that was sad. Low. Yeah, I like the angle I had the disc on, I just threw it too low. And this is a tricky upshot, just given how the trees bend to the right. No hyzer line chance to throw it in. So I'm gonna try a little bit of an Annie. Hopefully zip one in under the branches. Give us a good run, hopefully. Conditions are not great, as you might have figured out by now. Oh, that one branch to beat. Should have that though for a par. All right. Should hopefully have the, that branch is like perfectly in the way to mess with me. Gonna have to go straddle putt. There we go. Hopefully you had a good angle on that, sorry. Hole 8, 221 foot tunnel shot. Basket's down to the left. I know I can rely on the stability of the tempo if I hit this flat just to keep pushing. And then hit the hyzer at the end that I need. Don't know if it has the speed though. I know sometimes in wet conditions you can rely on like good skips off the grass. Unfortunately, it's a big like collection area right in front of the basket. So there's usually a really big puddle there. So might get a hydroplane, we'll see, but just gonna trust this disc nice and flat, give it the air hopefully to beat the tunnel and the ground, and maybe give me a birdie. Make sure my angle right. Oh, early release, split it. All right, living on that left side, I should be able to chip up and down. Don't you hate when you throw a bad shot and you know immediately after what you did wrong? I had the wrong grip on that. I didn't make sure to keep the nose down on it to, I had to reach high and then match the slope going down. And instead I kind of kept it flat, just air balanced it and lost it left. Gotta remember, take my time, even in crappy conditions. Because if you play better, you get out of the crappy conditions sooner. But yeah, I'm just left here a little straight up shot at the basket. Nothing too fancy, just gotta keep it low out of the branches. And hopefully get myself a putt on the clean side to the right. That'll work. All right, little tappy. Now on to hole 9. Hole 9, 160 foot par 3 dogleg left. This is one hole I really wanted to check out just because we had to do some work on it. We had to pull the basket back from the Gaga pit, so no safety issues there. And then we also pulled the tee pad back because trees came down the left side and had this inside line opened up that you could just kind of express lane to the basket. Problem was people were hitting early, dropping in, and then like trampling down all the rough. So it looks like it's healing nicely. I'm happy to see it. Now you got to take the more traditional line, which is straight up here, hyzer in. I usually throw an entropy or a deflector if I'm going for a skip ace. So the tempo should be right in that wheelhouse. I just got to give it a little air, beat those branches coming across, and then a little bit of hyzer to help it left. I like it. Might be a little deep, but should have an open look. Not too deep at all. Love to see it. All right, ending with a birdie. Now it is time for me to go home, dry off, and solemnly swear to never procrastinate again. But with that, Back to Shay.
So despite the conditions, I still had a good time throwing the Eclipse Tempo out there. I just hope I never have to do that again, guys. Just I'm okay with playing in the rain. I can manage, but trying to show off a disc, play good disc golf, and protect my camera from the elements, really stressful. So I probably didn't give this disc, the best showing I could have, but still, I think we saw some good traits out there. The big one, I definitely believe this is the most overstable tempo offered by MVP. So if you were looking for a tempo with just a little more overstability, I believe this is your answer right here. Now, for the big question, will it make my bag? For being honest, though, probably not. The tempo didn't really last long in my main bag or practice bag, simply because after a month or two of throwing it, I realized it didn't really offer me anything unique that I was missing. I can cover all the shot shapes of the tempo with stuff already in my bag. The Envy, the Pyro, and especially now the stock release of it, the Electron Entropy. So I like all three of those discs, and they just kind of give me everything that the tempo does. So I ended up, kicking it out of my main bag, but this will probably go into my glow bag because we are hurting for this slot in glow offerings from MVP. And I believe I've said it here on the channel before, if not, first time. I don't think the Eclipse Entropy is possible just because of how, dense that flight plate is on it. When you use Eclipse plastic, it is the most dense plastic MVP offers. I think that would put the Eclipse Entropy over legal weight. So I don't know if it's even possible, guys. So for now, for an overstable approach disc for glow, I have the Eclipse Tempo. If you come out to Mercer or any other glow scenes during the winter, you'll probably see me throwing this around and having a good time, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to it. But before I go, I do want to make up for playing a rain round on you guys. So I want to give something away or give you a chance to win. Unfortunately, I only have 2 of those Eclipse Tempos, so sorry I can't give you one of them, but I do have this really nice OTB Open 2024 Proton Soft Tempo. So if you want to win this, all you have to do is comment down below and tell me, which one do you prefer to play in more? Would you rather play in wind, rain, or snow? So tell me which of those 3 you would rather play in, and I'll do a drawing in the near future to see who wins this tempo. So with that, guys, thanks for watching this review. I just want to say thank you for all your support. If you have any questions for me, reach out. I'll do my best to answer them. Take care.
Thank you to my sponsors. For all your disc golf needs, check out Phoenix Discs and Foundation Disc Golf.